Good evening, everybody. This is Laird, VE3LKS, and I'd like to welcome you to the COVID-19 Rag Chew, week number 12, Thursday night. And let's just hope we don't get to the COVID-19 Rag Chew week 19 edition, because that would just be crazy. Anyways, I will take a quick standby and take check-ins. So if you wish to check in at this time, now's your opportunity.
Romeo Tango Victor.
Victor Echo 3 Oscar Golf Sierra Mobile.
3 CWR.
E3HIX. E3 RPM. Victor Alpha 3 Tango Papa Sierra. Victor Echo 3, Victor Golf Juliet.
Echo 3 Kilo Zulu Tango.
Okay, I'll tell you what I've heard so far. I've got VA3 RTV Jeffrey, VE3 OGS Gary, VE3 CWR Gerard, VE3 HIX Bob, VE3 RPN Scott, VA3 TPS Steve, VE3 VGJ Joe, VE3 KZT John, and there was another station trying to get in. I'm guessing it may have been Darren, VE3 NMD. He is on the YouTube channel, and I know he was trying to get in last night, but it just wasn't working. Any other stations wishing to check in, please come now.
Victor Alpha 3 Delta Charlie Echo. 3 IRB.
Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Golf.
Okay, I acknowledge VA3 DCE Doug, VE3 IRB Robert, and VA3 AG Eldo. Let's see, I put out a request for topics for the meeting, and Joe sent me a list of them, which is good. It'll take me into next week a bit, and I appreciate that, Joe. And some of you, some others may have sent me some, but to be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to check my email since about 9 o'clock this morning, so it's just been a bizarre, busy day. So the topic for tonight is going to be what other hobbies or interests are you into besides amateur radio? And just list maybe your top 2 or 3. I know some of you guys could go on for about an hour with some of the stuff you guys are into, but let's limit it to maybe 2 or 3 at the most. And with that, we will go to the mobile, VE3 OGS. Gary, take it away.
Good afternoon, Laird, and everyone else on the frequency. VE3 OGS Mobile. Other hobbies? Not a lot. A little bit of model airplane flying from time to time. I have a small helicopter that I sometimes play with, but don't find the time lately. It's always something going on, and hard to find time for number one hobby. But I guess I make that excuse to put it in the car and get to play with it while I'm driving. V3LKS, V3OGS Mobile.
Okay, very good, Gary. Yes, that model airplane stuff sounds interesting. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford the remote control ones, but I had one of those ones that you had a string on it, and so you could go up and down, and so you could take off and you could try to land, but you basically did circles, and for 5 minutes you had to go round and round and round, and then you either got dizzy and passed out, or you ran out of gas and you landed. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I imagine yours is a lot more complex than that. Let's see, VA3 RTV Jeffrey.
Yeah, thanks very much, Led, and good evening to everybody. And I was going to say sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but I don't think that'll go down too well. So I'll tell you my second choices. I do lots of clocks and watches, as most of you know, and that's always just been a hobby, but it's in kind of a big way. I like old cars. I've got 4 old English cars. I'm into motorcycles, and I like restoring old radios. And with that, back to you.
Yes, and I'm always fascinated by that old English-style telephone booth that you have in your driveway. That's always cool to take a look at, too. And yeah, I can vouch for the clocks. I was in there once when the hour struck, and it was quite the experience. Let's see. VE3 CWR, Gerard.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I better turn that guy down. Yeah, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Had a couple of days of real bad arthritis here, but everything's coming together today. But anyway, yeah, old radios, gramophones, phonographs, collected old radios, our old records, cylinders, records before 1923. I collected mostly, I think everything was pretty well acoustically recorded. There was no electronics. They were all done in a horn and whatnot. So that was one of my passions years ago, but I'm long since out of that. The records are too heavy, man. I get rid of 10 tons of 78s when I moved. So anyway, not too much, Laird. I'm going to stay around for this round, and I'll be gone for the next one. So have a great evening, fellas. Take care. VE3CWR back to Mission Control.
Oh, very good, Gerard. You're hooking up with the fellas on the Maritime Net?
No, not tonight, Laird. I'm going up to bed. I'm just getting over. I had a heck of a bout with my osteoarthritis and stuff. So anyway, feeling much better now. Everything's good. So
Excellent.
anyway, I couldn't get downstairs the last couple of nights. My hips were so bad. But anyway, I managed tonight, and I got a few things done down here.
Excellent, Gerard. Well, you know what? Sleep is the great elixir. That's for sure. I know when I'm feeling rotten, if I can fall asleep, that's 9/10 of the problem fixed right there. So very good. We'll have a good nap, and I would say beauty rest, but we know that's not going to happen. And, it's a tough crowd. And yeah, Mission Control, that actually sparked something. A couple nights ago, we were talking about how the Dragon space capsule went up, and the SpaceX rocket came back down and landed on a ship. And everyone quite a few people were commenting that the video cut out right as it was going to land. And I'm just going to drop it here for a second. Well, I got up at the crack of stupid this morning and couldn't fall back to sleep. So I was on YouTube, and they were there's a YouTube video out there saying why the video cuts off. The rocket is landing on a ship out in the ocean, and when it's coming down, the rockets are supplying close to 1,000 pounds of pressure per square foot or something like that, or square inch, and it actually shakes the ship. And why that cuts out the video is the video is actually being relayed from the ship to a satellite, and then from the satellite back down to Mission Control. And when the ship starts to sink, it loses the lock on the satellite. And so the video goes out for a few seconds until it lands and the rocket shut off. So there you have it. The mystery is solved. Let's see. VE3 HIX Bob.
Good evening, Laird. Good evening, everyone on frequency. My other hobbies. I guess you know mostly about them. Boating. I've got a trailerable inboard fiberglass boat that I take out to the beautiful lakes here in Ontario. Motorbiking. I've got a large Vespa that we go chasing the back roadways with. And I've got a few English model steam engines. They're about, I don't know, a foot and a half or 2 feet long each. And I run them on compressed air. They are hand-built back in the 1930s and 40s. And the only other place I've seen these things is in the British Science Museum in London. They're kind of nice to have. But recently, unfortunately, I've spent a whole lot of my time gardening, so I don't get to do any of these things. So better get back to studying here how I'm going to check out the software we were talking about yesterday to see if we can submit individual files with the same piece of software. Back to you, Laird, VE3HIX.
Okay, very good, Bob. And yes, because you're on for tomorrow night to inform us all on all this. So it's supposed to rain tomorrow, though, so you'll have lots. You won't have any excuses that you have to go here or there or go work on the yard or something. So you have a lot of time to spend looking that up. Hi. VE3RPN Scotty. Oh, and I just wanted to say, Robert IRB said that he's on a Zoom call. So he's just monitoring the YouTube channel right now. So if you're on YouTube, I usually don't get a chance to type on YouTube while I'm doing the net. But if you're on YouTube, say hi to Bob and let him know that you're thinking of him. And let's see, Bill VA3WBZ, William, I guess, sorry. Although he says Bill here. He's checking in today from the backyard, so he probably won't be on voice, but he just wanted to say hi, everybody that's on the Rag Chew this evening. Anyways, Scotty, take it away. VE3RPN, VE3LKS.
VE3LKS, VE3RPN. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Laird. And hobbies, well, other than babysitting, which seems to be my big thing right now. No, actually, I do have some great ones. My favorite hobby, I guess, if you want to call it, it's sport more than anything else. Other people say it's not, but I find scuba diving is very sporty. I've got all the equipment in the world, including photography and stuff. And I do like messing with these new quadcopters. I've been addicted to them. So if you can't get me on the radio, that's probably what I'm doing. I've got a couple that take video. They're not the quality I want, so I'm going to get something better, I think. Although right now, it's I got to buy a couple chargers for some of my toys that I trim the lawn with, and it's cut between the price of that and getting a new radio. So I'm walking a tightrope there. I should just go with the radio, but I'm sure you guys will agree. And I've also made my list for Saturday morning for that special place that we all go to, and looking forward to that. Yeah, my kids are 16, the twin grandkids that day. I should bring them up with me. They don't get out of bed that early. I will be listening there on the side. Over to you there, Laird, VE3RPN.
Oh, very good, Scotty. Just a quick question. How often do you get out scuba diving every year? And where do you go? Do you go around here, or do you go on these exotic trips to somewhere where the water's like 82 degrees?
I can't say I've done that in a long time, the Jamaican kind of deal. I have California a few times there. We've done, my son and I have done La Jolla down there, that beautiful cove where the lifeguards train, and we've done some kelp diving, shark kind of deals where you go even at night. My son actually did it last, 2 years ago, we were down there, and he went night diving. But he's my buddy when we get time. I've got all the gear downstairs. I do go to Georgian Bay. I love Tobermory, and that's certainly where I got a lot of my photography from, such as it is. Not a area up to Kingston. We've done some deep dives. And I worked with Joe McInnes, Dr. McInnes there at the Subliminus there in Little Tub Harbor in Tobermory. So that was back when I was just in university there. That was just something fun. But anyway, that's about it, buddy. And I try to get once or twice if I can do that. But with my ticker acting up this week, I don't know if I'm going to be. It's figures, I got a birthday coming up, and now tickers give me a little trouble. But I think we're going to be good. Over to you there, Reg, Tube Controller, V3 RPM.
Yeah, it's all that anticipated excitement and stress about having to blow out all those candles, whether you can do it with one breath or not anymore. Let's see, VA3 TPS, Steve. Good evening, way up there in Fenelon Falls.
Good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency. VE3 LKS, VA3 TPS. Well, I kind of agree with Jeffrey's first choice for other hobbies, but I guess hunting and fishing were my other main hobbies, which I really haven't done too much in the last couple of years. It's been keeping me pretty busy here. Doing a lot of gardening, like somebody else out here earlier, and building gardens and stuff. But yeah, that's about it for me, Laird. Lovely day up here. Got lots of work done. Long day, but well worth it. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. At least you were accomplishing things. I know I went out to lunchtime and just had to get out of the house and did a bit of gardening. And then later in the afternoon, I went out and fed my two buddies, the chipmunks. One, his name is Kevin, and the other one is Norbert. They're named after Minion characters from Despicable Me. My son named them. But other than that, it was just a busy day in the office here. Let's see. VE3 VGJ Joe. Yeah, I don't think you have any other hobbies.
Good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency. I've had a whole bunch of different hobbies. I go at them for a while, and then all of a sudden I just put them on the bookshelf and switch to another one. But right now, probably is ATVing. I like that, and also photography. It's great being out the trails, and I have a nice little camera there and get some pictures taken. And yeah, that's about it right now. Other than smoking meats and curing meats, that was probably the latest one that I sort of just shelved. A lot of fun doing that. And interesting that comment you made about the Vulcan 9 rocket landing. That's interesting. Why that happened. I did actually look on YouTube some other footage from them when it's landing on shore, and you get a chance to see that. But I guess, like you say, on a barge, it shifts a bit. And I'll hear all those on as well. So maybe when he comes around there, you can ask him about that free logging software there. Back to you there, Larry.
Okay, very good, Joe. Yes, it's ATV season, so I can see why that's a high priority for you right now, and I'm sure it's probably a high priority for some other fellow that's going to be coming up here shortly too. So very good, and it's nice to get out in the bush and see the nature, and you do take a lot of good pictures. It's always fun to sort of live vicariously through some of the places that you travel to. Especially some of those, I won't call them a ghost town, but just abandoned places along the rail line that since the rail doesn't go through there anymore, there's still a couple of buildings there. That kind of stuff always fascinates me. Let's see, VE3 KZT John. Good evening, sir.
Excuse me. Good evening, Laird, and all those fellows on frequency. Well, I got a whole number of shares. Railroading, photography, research of model aircraft, and of course, so there you go. So too many toys or too many irons in the fire, and not really good at any of it at this point. And I'm still looking for someone to check my coax before I put it up. 17, back to that.
Okay, very good. John is still just to get to the guys on YouTube, although they can probably hear us anyways. But if there's anyone that can give John a hand at checking his coax to make sure that it's all good to go. I've got a Nano, John, but I don't know how to check the coax except hook it up, and I think I don't know if there's something on the Nano that will tell me whether it's fine or not. But if so, maybe I can bring it this Saturday and we can hook it up and give it a go. But maybe some other fellas on here will have some ideas as well. Let's see. VA3 DCE Doug.
Good evening, Laird, and everyone on the net tonight. I haven't got any hobbies that really fit in right now other than the ATV, which is sort of limited. And everything else is seasonal and involves the outdoors. I enjoy getting out in October and November, kicking a few leaves around, making sure that the chickadees have a place to land, and just generally enjoy things like that. Camping has always been an interest, and enjoy that. But my camping days are sort of behind me. I've got a tent and all the stuff I need, but unfortunately, I think I'm slightly out of the tent area, and my trailer's gone, so I have to count on other people sometimes now. Anyway, back to you, Laird.
Oh, very good, Doug. And yeah, and I guess I think you mentioned a couple times you go camping with your daughter, but I guess with the COVID thing going on, that's probably out of the question right now, which is too bad. Although no one would probably know, and I think you're probably both safe right now. If you don't have it now, you probably won't have it. But yeah, very good. And how's the bike riding doing on the trail up there near Uxbridge?
Well, I got out on Monday and Tuesday. Managed to get rain done. 12 out of the 13 kilometers I traveled on Tuesday. Wednesday I didn't get out. We had a big shuffle around with the cars here in our parking lot. They redid the cleaning and painting the lines down in the parking garage. So about 70 or more cars come outside to park outside, and if I move my truck, I'll be parking at Port Perry and taking the bus over here to get in. So I've been housebound since I got back from Oshawa yesterday afternoon, and I hope to go out tomorrow morning because the garage will open again, and hopefully all these nuisance cars will disappear.
Oh man, yes. I guess when you empty out a garage for that and they have to go somewhere, then you're sort of snookered. And I guess you don't have numbered parking spots, eh?
No reservations up top. Down below they have reservations. I try these little Dollarama cones, and sometimes people will respect them, and other times they just drive over them and crush them. But no big loss because they're unofficial anyway.
Okay, very good. Let's see. VE3 IRB. Well, Robert's on a Zoom call, so we'll skip over him. VA3AG Eldo. And Joe had a question regarding the free software. I think you had mentioned it to us last week, but we'll let you go first, and then you can talk about the logging software.
Good evening, Laird. VA3LKF and the group VA3AG. Well, let's see, other hobbies. Women and wine, does that count as a hobby? No, I don't think it does. All right, so then what would be my next hobby? Oh, yeah, casing countries for my DXCC award. I just made it to 100 just the other day, so I can apply for a diploma. How about that? 100 countries. I know it's not very much, but oh well. It's considering the antenna that I have and everything, it's not bad at all. Anyway, the software that Joe is talking about, I think, is Log for All Men. LOG, the number 4, OM. And it's pretty good, very good software, logging software, and it's free. It does have a contest module there, and it would cover field day as well, but it's really not a contest software, so I wouldn't bother using it for that. If you wanted to use something for Contesting, I would probably say N1MM would be a good one, and then of course the N3FJP's software, the one for field day. So I don't know if that answers your question there. Go ahead, Larry.
Yes, I think it does, Eldo. We had a good little roundtable last night, and you know what? Why don't we just have a quick little roundtable again? We were discussing the software for field day, and if we, it appears that if we use the N3 software that the club already has, everyone will need to buy a copy because I think Bob mentioned that. It's only licensed for the club call, but I'll let him talk to that because I think he was going to be doing some testing today to see if you could use your own call with the club license. But Bob, you want to pipe in there?
Okay, V3HIX, which I have not done yet to check that out.
Oh,
but
no.
I was just reading the instructions on the site on how to do this, and you have to submit a Cabrillo file. So each person does it individually, and it says that it says in the instructions, go to File, write Cabrillo file. Do not complete the form that appears because it's an ARL form. It's not necessary any longer. Click the right dupe file button, and then click the large green button near the top that says click here to calculate the band totals. This is for each person individually, of course. A form appears showing your QSOs by band. Click the link at the bottom left to go to the ARRL site. Complete the form there, and then select the file that you just created, and it puts it in. Now, whether that file that you created says VE3HIX for myself, or whether it says a VE3NSR, which is the license, I have no idea. That's my next thing to go through and to see if we can use it. Over.
Okay, so we'll give you another day there, Bob. Put the deadline on you. Hi, and see what you can come up with. And did anyone else have any questions for either Bob or Eldo?
Joe here.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I have a comment.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's take Aldo's comment, and then Joe, you can pop in.
Yeah, Bob, maybe just a quick email to Scott, the author of the program. You should be able to let us know if we could go ahead and use it. And if not, I don't think it's a big deal. It's only $8.99. I'm sure we can afford to get a copy from Scott. That will help him out too.
Yes, there's the two aspects here. One is the can it be done aspect, and he specifically doesn't want you to use the club software. He said it for individual users, but this year is he didn't say this, but this year is different. Of course, you have club members only, perhaps using that software, but they're not all in one location. Can we use it? Yes or no? And we can probably fix this thing up to do that, and just submit it with that Cabrillo file to see how that's done. But as a moral judgment, he has come out and said, this thing's only $8.99. It's the price of a sandwich in a sandwich shop. It's heavily discounted as it. Please buy my software. So I want to see if it can be done, and then we should ask him whether it should be done. Over.
Yeah, and maybe we should just forget it and just buy a copy, and
I think so too.
And leave that one there for the club's field day, which that was the intention anyway. why don't we just go ahead and each buys a copy? I mean, it's not a lot of money, so you can buy it over the net, and you pay over the net. He'll send you a password immediately. You can activate it, and away you go. So it's fairly easy. $8.99, couple cups of coffee, depending where you buy it, Starbucks or something like that. So there you go. Anyway, that's all I had to say there, Laird. Go ahead.
Yeah, $8.99. That's only half a cup of a Starbucks, and I agree. For $8.99, I'm just gonna buy a copy. This guy's got he puts a lot into it to keep it going. So, I'm willing to spend the $8.99. Joe had a question. Take it away, Joe.
Yes, the first one was although their Log 4OM. That's the software I'm using here, and I talked to you momentarily at a club meeting one time, and I think you managed you're one of the testers for it. Anyway, that's what I've been using, and I tried to see if you could use it for field day, but it looked a little bit awkward. And yes, as far as buying the software for the field day, I have no problem with that. Just wondering if we did it in such a way. Again, I've never done this before, so maybe I should be keeping quiet here, but if we each, as Bob was saying, you submit your own, and then we send a copy to a common person. Maybe Darren, I think, takes care of it, and he puts it all together and sends it off as a club aggregate, I think they call it. Anyway, back to you there, Larry.
Break.
Go ahead, Break.
Yeah, I brought that up with Darren, and he was willing to go ahead with it, of course. But reading more information on this since, from both the ARRL and from the software author, that's not how it works this year. Each person sends their own copy of the Cabrillo file into the ARRL site and fills out a form on the site specifying who you are and specifying the name of the club that you want this to be added up under. So each individual person does it, and you can use whatever software you like. You might even be able to do it on paper. I have no idea. But Darren would do his own, and I would do my own, but he doesn't put them all together like he did in past years. Over. Back to you, Joe.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, no problem then. We don't have to, Darren doesn't get stuck with all that extra work. The other thing, too, is if we do put it in as our club on filling out that form, we better make sure we have an exact name of the club we all standardize to, not just a call sign or something, just that we standardize it to make sure it's put together the right way.
Thank you, P3MD.
That's our club name, and whoever we're going to register under the ARRL. That's it's up to our president. Back to you, Larry.
Yeah, and Darren was just breaking in there, and I think he's going to say that since he doesn't have to do all this work with submitting the report to the ARRL, that he's going to be bringing pizza and beverages around to everybody in the middle of the night to keep us going. Anyways, Darren, was that what that's what you were going to announce, correct?
Something like that. I don't know about the middle of the night, though. P3MD.
Very good. Did you want to add something to the conversation there?
Can I have wine with my pizza?
Sure. And the only thing, and if someone can't send it in or has trouble, they can always send me the file, and I can send it in. So either way works.
Okay, very good. Then I think we'll leave it at this, that everyone will buy their own copy of the software. So we'll send out a quick email blast to everybody in the club and say, if you want to participate in field day, this is the software you need to get. We can't use the club software this year because we're not operating as a club as such, and it's licensed to the club. And we'll then we can explain. Maybe still have a Zoom meeting, maybe in 2 weeks. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. I don't think we need a meeting now on this Sunday, and we can go over how complex this software is to use, and we'll go from there. Okay, any further questions or comments before we continue on?
Does that let me off the hook for tomorrow then?
Okay, we'll let you off the hook for tomorrow, Bob.
This is VA3AG. You know, having one person send all of the logs in would be the way to go, I think, so that it can be done the right way. And that's just my opinion. If it's possible to do it that way, Laird.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to see what the ARL requires. I don't know if you have to log on to their website, like set up an account and then upload your log or what. But maybe what we'll do is we'll find out what that process is, and then we can make a decision once we know that process.
Okay, Laird. Very good. Okay, well, I won't hold it any longer. I'll sit back and listen here.
Okay, Darren, since you're on here now with voice, we need to know what other hobbies other than ham radio that you like to dilly-dally around with.
Okay. I guess I'll start it out of ham radio anyway. Well, aviation, I guess, or flying. Been doing that since high school. Ham radio operator V3 EWI, who actually just passed away last year, used to take me up in his 150, and that sort of got me hooked. So I was doing flight training and all that while I was in college. Luckily, right after lunch, I had one electronics class with Mitch Powell, V3OT, who also was a pilot and built his plane. So, of course, he let me skip his class to go flying. And usually after that, he either had a lab or this other class with Humphrey, I forget his call, and the other guy, who the two of them together built a plane and then took their flight training on the plane that they built. And then from all that, flying led to scuba diving. Got my dive master, or did get the dive master, got up to rescue, but partway through the dive master, when just got too busy with work and never did finish up. And then the usual model aircraft and stuff like that, and electronics, of course. That's about it. V3NMD.
Excellent. I like the flying part. That's always fun. Let's see. We're at the bottom of the list, so I will take a standby to see if anybody else would like to check in with the COVID-19 Rag Chew. If so, please come now.
V3XEQ. VA3JLQ.
Jack! No.
Victor Echo 3, Papa Whiskey Juliet.
Okay, I acknowledge VE3XEQ Christopher, VA3JLQ Larry, and VE3PWJ Peter. Anybody else? Okay, gentlemen, the topic of this evening for the COVID-19 Rag Chew is what other hobbies or interests do you have other than amateur radio? And Christopher, we ask that you keep it clean. No worries there. We know you will.
Oh, good evening, Larry. When have I not? Come on, give me a break. Accusations. Somebody already stole my thunder, but yeah, chasing women has always been at the fourth place. You know, but now that I'm old and decrepit, you know, and I can't even catch the ones in the walkers anymore. So I tried resorting to hiding behind trees and popping out before they get a lead on me. But honestly, Larry, I don't know what I'd do if I ever caught one anyway. Hobbies, yeah, I've had all kinds of hobbies. I enjoyed photography. I enjoyed rocketry. I had a lot of fun with rocketry. Boy, do I have stories about that. And oil painting. Did a lot of oil painting. Scuba diving. Yep. Not too much of it I haven't done. I want to get my pilot's license. I've been up many times in the 150. A friend at work he had his license. We had to bill all the time to fly. But I believe everybody needs a hobby, especially you need them for when you grow older. And chasing women is too tiring. Back to you.
Okay, very good. Well, I guess when I get older, I'll get a hobby. Hi. And you've had quite a few of them. You mentioned scuba diving. Scotty RPN, he's into scuba diving. I used to do a lot of snorkeling, and wasn't too bad. I could usually get down, 25 feet, sometimes 30 feet. But I went scuba diving once with a relative, and that was a blast. Anyways, VA3 JLQ, and I believe it's Larry. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen, on the net and everything. My second hobby is doing a lot of electrical jobs. They're kind of interesting. Like the other day, we had one that got hit with lightning in a big pool service, and it involved quite a bit of circuitry and relays and stuff. So it's kind of interesting figuring them things out.
Oh, very good. I was reading somewhere this week that a squirrel got into one of the major transformers in Oshawa somewhere and blew the living daylights out of it. And they had to, it was not just a small pole transformer. It's one of these ones in the ground. They had to have a crane to pull the thing out. Did you hear about that?
No, sorry, I didn't hear about that. No. Because, the jobs I get that are interesting is through my day job, because we have lots of contracts because we do a lot of commercial stuff. And so I'm surprised I didn't hear about it, but I didn't.
Okay, yeah, maybe it'll be in the newspaper this week, since we only get one of them now a week. I'll have to look and see if that's in there. Because I think I read it online in the Oshawa News or something like that. Very good. VE3PWJ, Peter. You had me worried that you weren't going to be on tonight.
We're just out in the backyard cleaning up some of the old lumber and garbage was out there, and a friend of ours down the street had a pickup, and he put a lot of it in the truck and made it cleaned up both sheds today. That's one of the things he did. We went over to the electronics place where you can get a few bucks for your old electronics over in Whitby. We did that today. So we had a few things we were on the go today. And my one other hobby probably is, you've seen a couple of the toys I have, starts with an N. I think you know what those are, Laird. So anyway, go ahead and get some more beans, and we'll just listen along for the rest of the net there, Laird.
Okay, I'm sorry I missed that, Peter. What does it start with? Your other favorite hobby? What letter?
N.
Okay. I'm going to have to think about that one for a while. So I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but let me think about it. We'll go back up to the top to Jeffrey and let him take it away. And you can either expound some more on your hobbies, Jeffrey, or it can be just a free-for-all. VA3RTV, VE3LKS. And...
yeah, thanks very much, Les. Let's see. A couple of things just been thinking of here. Just going through this week newspaper that's just arrived, and there is Carol Day's obituary there. So if anyone hasn't seen it, it's in this week's newspaper. And when I was really young, I already knew what I was interested in, but some of the people would have hobbies like train spotting, and stand on a bridge and take numbers of the trains as they went under the bridge, and collecting doorknobs and matchbox tops and stamps and that. These are the sort of hobbies that I wouldn't even do if I was in prison. But I do have other hobbies as well. Models. I had a gift of a Triumph motorcycle model that was dropped, and it kind of exploded. A lovely model, though, a very high-end one. And so I've been quite a few years getting to the point where putting it all back together, including all the spokes had to go back in the wheels and that. And that is now finished, and it's standing beside my clocks. Let's see if there's something else here. No, I think that's it, and I will be listening just for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I've got to go. So all the best to everybody. Thanks so much for what you're doing, Laird. Take care. VA3RTB.
Very good. I like that comment about all the hobbies that you wouldn't even do if you were in jail. I'll have to ask Scotty when it comes his turn if he's done much time, because I think he's into railway spotting. Let's see. VE3OGS Gary, are you still with us, or are you in the house munching down on supper? Okay, I'm going to assume that Gary's home and munching down on supper, because I know he was mobile and heading home. VE3CWR Gerard, and I think Gerard may have gone for his nap, but we'll check anyways. Okay, nothing heard. Oh, Bob, IRB is back. So, Bob, the topic of the evening is what are some of the other hobbies or interests that you have besides amateur radio? And please, please, please do not say cooking.
Well, eating liver dinners, of course, and I was just on a Zoom meeting for my Linux group. I'm also involved in genealogy. I do have a model railroad, but I don't spend too much time on that. Gardening, you name it. One thing with the Linux group, they were showing us a Linux program called fritzing for laying out electronic circuitry. It was sort of interesting. So if anybody's looking for a program, they've got Linux, fritzing is the name of the program. Back to you.
Okay, very good. And does the word fritzing mean anything, or is it just one of those names that they just pulled out of the hat and decided to go with it?
I'm presuming out of a hat, but I don't know.
Okay, a red hat? No, that's too bad of a joke, Bob. Don't even reply to that one. Yeah, for those who don't know, Red Hat makes a Linux product, so an operating system. Anyways, let's see. VE3HIX Bob. Oh, and Gary Zed, he's on the YouTube channel. Yes, he said he likes hearing about the chasing the women hobby. And so far, Gary, there may be a lot of chasing going on, but not a lot of catching. Too many aches and pains and parts that don't move very fast. And even Doug with his cane, I think, has a hard time snagging one. So maybe you can enlighten us on YouTube there. And with that, Bob, VE3HIX.
Okay, I was just looking up how to write a Cabrillo file using this software. It's not that difficult, but I think if we all send our stuff into Darren, and he can make sure that it's all the same, and that we all put the proper club name in, and that way we'll get credit from the whole thing for all the additions. And as Steve said last night, if you're only going to have a few contacts, the first 30 are for free anyway. And you can go from there. But anything more than that, of course, you'd have to pay the price, and the price is really cheap for this kind of software. It's excellent. The only other thing was a piece at the beginning. We haven't gone through this stuff yet to show people how to use it, and there's excellent tutorials online. There's a bit about your latitude and longitude and so forth. You don't have to do that for field day. It puts some defaults in which are wrong for this area, of course, but the only time that shows up is if you go into one of the sub-menus, and it shows you how far it is to a well-known contester and which way you should be aiming your antenna. That's all it's used for. The only stuff that's necessary for your field day stuff, and we'll go through this, is your call and the class and your location here, and everything else fits into place automatically in the database after that. Anyway, no other outstanding hobbies. I always loved electronics, of course, and that led to a whole career, and we'll take it back to you, Laird, the E3HIX.
Oh, very good, Bob. Yeah, I know your first go around, you mentioned steam engines. I've got a little steam engine here. I should bring it out sometime once we can go back to Tim Hortons again. I think it's made by a company in Germany, though, and they were common toys back in like the 60s, I guess. You would order these out of the catalog and or from a toy store, and they would come, and it was just like on a mount, and it was a little steam engine. I've never even actually tried to fire it up. I got it from my dad, and so I should probably try that sometime and see how it works. But it's cool. Maybe I'll take a couple of pictures of it and send it to you to see what you think. It's probably just a piece of junk, but you never know. Let me see. VE3RPN Scott, and done much time there, buddy?
No problem. VE3RPN, thanks there, Larry. I do actually do a little railroad watching. As you probably know, with my friend Dave, I would say, before this happened with the virus, we would go out 3-4 times a week, and we go to various locations in Curtis, Bowmanville, and other places, and we'd watch it. He pretty much knew everything that was on each one of the railroad train boxes. I got into it. I thought, oh, this is nuts. I'm hooked on it too, and I do have the frequencies in this radio, by the way. But anyway, hopefully we'll be back into that. That's quite relaxing, quite enjoying. Spent a lot of time at Darlington's Crossing there, but we had a little trouble with somebody down there, so we decided we'd go somewhere else. Anyway, I was with Association Canadian Aeronautics Council. Back, I got my certification in 1969, and I'm old. And I was actually on Commer as a rescue diver when they allowed people in the water. And that's back when the City of Oshawa Marine Rescue Association vessel was over in Whitby. And that was quite a hike for me because I lived in Oshawa. But anyway, we were some interesting calls. And like I say, I still have my 80 tank in the basement. I don't know if I'm going to get out this year, though, with everything going on. Anyway, buddy, you're doing a fantastic job, and I think I'm almost at the point where I can dig out my power supply for the up-and-coming event. Anyway, and I'll get my TS-130. I think that's going to be my radio. Anyway, good. You're doing a great job, buddy. Over to you there, right? Q Control, VE3RPN.
Okay, excellent, Scott. Let's see. I'm looking on the YouTube station, and Gary says regarding the chasing the ladies, he says it's the thought that counts, and it proves you're not dead yet. So that's true. The spirit is willing. He also says, in addition to astronomy and photography, he used to build computers. But with everyone on laptops these days, that bit the dust. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. It used to be that you could build a computer really cheap, and now you try to build a computer and the prices are just horrendous. You might as well have a laptop. I used to build computers too, and that's my squeaky mic. And it doesn't pay to even build them anymore. You just go and get one that's already pre-made. But even those are expensive. Just because people aren't buying them anymore, so they don't make as many. Let's see, VA3 TPS Steve.
Very good, Laird. Lots of interesting hobbies. I don't really have too much else. I'm pretty, I guess I'm pretty boring up here. Keep busy with the radio and the chores around here. Keeps me out of trouble. Maybe I'll try to get back into doing some more fishing there, hopefully this summer. And who knows, maybe get back into hunting again. Anyways, great job, Laird, as always. Really enjoy it. I'll say 7-3, and I'll be listening to the end. Take care, everybody. Have a safe night. VA3 TPS.
Excellent, Steve. Oh, and just a question. Are you heading down this way anytime in the next couple of weeks?
I'm not sure. I might be. I got to phone the doctor this probably next week, and one of my prescriptions running out. 1 minute he wants to see me, next minute he doesn't. So it depends on this stuff. I might be.
Okay, very good. Well, if you are, let me know. Give me a shout ahead of time, and we'll chat. Let's see. Where was I? TPS VE3 VGJ Joe. And so far tonight, I don't think I forgot anybody.
Yeah, you're doing very good there, Laird. And yes, I mentioned there about steam. I like the live steam engines and that. And you mentioned you have one there. I won't be around to WFF this weekend, but maybe next week I'll bring the ones. I've got a couple of stationary ones there, like Bob is mentioning. These are ones I made from casting kits back 30 years ago, and a lot of fun making them. And maybe a little bit of a show and tell will be fun there at WFF. But I can't do it this weekend. It'll be the following one. I'll take them out of the off the shelf there and clean the dust off them and bring them up there. A little bit of things. But yes, live steam, I love it, especially steam locomotives and trains. Always enjoy that. Unfortunately, you don't see any steam locomotives running through town anymore. You don't have the steam excursions anymore. Back to you there, Laird.
Yes, it's too bad they don't have that. Some of those old engines were neat to see, and I guess there's a few around, but I don't think there's anything close to us for those steam shows. And any progress on the new antenna?
No, I got so many irons in the fire right now, just planning the right time, and I'll be putting it together. It didn't come with any instructions, so I've been fumbling around with it a little bit, but I got to write them and get them to send me some the instructions. I have a pretty good idea, but I want to make sure I do it right.
Okay, very good. So everyone, Joe's a blacksmith too, because he's got too many irons in the fire. Let's see, who's next on the list? VE3KZT John.
Good evening again, folks. On Rhino, I'll have nothing to add this evening. I'll hang around here till the end. Take 2 more minutes. Maybe we'll see you on here tomorrow evening. The VE3KZT will be standing by.
Okay, excellent, John. And maybe one of the guys like Darren or Joe can tell me how to test coax with the Nano, and I can bring my Nano up to White Feather on the weekend if you're heading up there. If not, maybe we can meet up sometime. And but I'll need someone to tell me how to do it. Let's see. VA3 DCE Doug. VA3 DCE Doug.
He might have gone over to the other net.
Well, the nerve of him. Of all things, going to another net. Oh well. We'll let it slide this time. VE3 IRB Robert. Okay, very good, Robert. Just being bashful on all your interests tonight. Oh, that's okay. Well, we can let you be bashful. VA3AG Eldo. I bet you that pretty little lady that lives upstairs came down and told him it was din-din time. We'll give him one more shot here. VA3AG Eldo. No, nothing heard. VE3NMD Darren. No audio. No audio.
See if I can find some old coax that I could put a short or something in the middle and let you play with the nano and learn how to test the coax.
Okay, we only got about 5 seconds of that. The first part of the conversation, it's like you were talking into a pillow.
Okay, sorry. If you're coming on Saturday, bring your nano. I'll see if I can find an old piece of coax and a good piece and put a short somewhere in the middle of the old coax or something, and or a fault of some sort, so you can actually see what it looks like. V3NMD.
Okay, very good, Darren. And we'll do that. And I'll just make sure it's all charged up. Well, I can run it out of my car anyways on the battery. So we'll make sure we bring it and the associated cables and the tuning kit and all that jazz. Let me see. VE3XEQ Christopher.
Yes, Larry. Yeah, you caught me there dozing. Huh. Yeah, I just finished eating a nice roast, slow cooker roast by Steve. He's a great cook. He's a real terrific cook. He won't win any beauty contest, trust me, but it doesn't seem to affect his cooking at all. So I give a shout out to Steve that he helps me out in the field listening. But scuba diving. I scuba dive at Baptiste Lake and Elephant Lake and down by Omimi and Pigeon. Enjoyed that about many moons ago. And all these hobbies I've had. The rocketry, though, I'll tell you just a quick short story. I built a rocket, and you're only supposed to have a maximum of three D engines. So I built it with 3 sections and 5 D engines in each one. So wherever it was going a long way. But what I didn't do is I didn't balance test it. And Steve and I went out and out in the conservation area out towards where anyway. So we launched it. It went up about 25 feet, went into a bobble, did a reverse upside down, came back down again. And Steve yelled out, hit the deck, so he ran behind his Volkswagen Rabbit and watched it burn up a circle about 5 or 10 feet around, put the fire out, put the rocket in the trunk, and time to go home. What we didn't think about was they were vectoring in planes from the town just up north of the city there. And so that wasn't too smart, not at all. And I'll say 7-3 to everybody. And everybody should have a hobby. I've met people that don't have a hobby and they're usually just old and cranky, a lot like me. So I'll say 7-3 to everybody. Have a good night. Good job there, Larry. 7-3. Take care. V3XEQ.
Oh my goodness, I like your humor, man. And we missed you the other night. Steve was on. Yeah, he was outstanding in his field, and he was on, but you weren't. But I when my boys were younger, we used to fire off rockets, and I just had the cardboard ones, that had the top that had a parachute in it, and it would come back down. Of course, we were always trying to make it go higher and faster and that. So we did something similar. I forget what size of engines it was, but we loaded it up one day and we never saw it again. We heard it go up. We lost sight of it. We could still hear it burning. And then that was it. We never saw it. We were assuming the parachute opened because we never had a problem with the parachute before, but it was lost. So it was crazy but fun. Let's see. VA3JLQ, Larry. Okay, nothing heard from Larry. So that brings us to the bottom of the list, fellas. Well, it's been a great evening. One of my favorite hobbies is making money. Uh, I love doing that. And the thing is, I don't spend a lot of it. So I guess that's a good thing and a bad thing. But, it's I always enjoy invoicing people for things. Anyways, it's been a fun evening, everybody. Does anybody have any more questions or comments before we officially shut the net down?
Yeah, I'd like to know where you live there, Laird, so I can send some guys over from the government to watch you make money.
Oh yeah. No, this is all legitimate. This isn't. I'm not running it through my printer. Oh my goodness. If I could do that, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be up on a lake somewhere like Steve. Very good, very good. And I guess I forgot to ask if there was anybody else that wanted to check in for the rag chew. If so, please come now.
VA3 BTQ.
Oh, Jackie, you had me worried there. Glad to have you with us. We thought maybe you had fallen in the ditch and Scamp was trying to drag you home or something.
Falling off a horse might be better.
Uh-oh.
No, I had a visitor, and unfortunately it kept me just until just a minute ago. So hope everything went well, and it sounds like you had a good net. Hello to everybody, and over.
Yeah, we did. And we'll let you have your turn too, Jackie. This evening we were talking about what other hobbies besides amateur radio do we do, or interests. So we had everything from scuba diving to train watching to collecting clocks. I think you may know who that is, or is that Clucks? So what kind of other hobbies and interests do you have? And let's put it this way: besides horses.
Besides horses, dogs and ham radio and yoga and physical fitness and cooking and eating, and I think that pretty well. Oh, reading. I love to read. And I think that pretty well covers it. Over.
Yoga and physical fitness? How did you ever become a ham radio operator? You can't do that if you're a ham.
Talk to my dad. Over.
Okay, very good, Jackie. Well, thanks for checking in, even though it's a bit late, but better late than never. We're glad you were able to check in this evening, and glad all is well. And with that, is there anybody else that would like to check in before we shut down?
Check.
Okay, we had a recheck, and there's some other station in there in the distance, but I can't make you out. It was just a bit staticky. So what I'll do is I'll take the recheck. Maybe you can get in a bit better position, and I'll come back to you. The recheck, go ahead.
V3KZT, can I bring my hard line and get a check?
Oh, sure thing, John. Yes, by all means. And Darren will show us what it looks like when it's bad and what it looks like when it's good, and then we can hook yours up and see what the results are when we hook yours up. So yes, by all means, throw it in the back of the pickup truck and bring it out to the egg shop.
Okay, good stuff. I'll see you there Saturday morning.
Sounds like a plan. That other station that was trying to get in, I can't even talk now. Trying to get in. Please come again. No, I'm sorry. I can't make out enough out to make it to make anything out. If anyone's out there, can you guys all switch to reverse and see if you can hear this gentleman? And I'll give you a second to do that, and then I'll have him give a transmission again. maybe one of our other stations can hear you directly. That should be long enough for guys to switch to reverse. Go ahead and try again, please. Okay, did anybody catch that on reverse? No, sorry about that, old man. No one heard you, and I just can't make you out. There's just not. I can tell someone's talking, but that's about it. But listen, we're on here every weeknight, Monday to Friday at 7 o'clock. So give it a shot tomorrow night again if you can. But it's just not coming in tonight, and sometimes night to night it can make a difference. Especially if you're way out there on the fringes. Our repeater is located in Oshawa, Ontario, on the north side of Lake Ontario, so I'm not sure where you're coming in from. But yeah, by all means, please try to join us again tomorrow night, and we'll see if we can get you in again. Okay, with that, are there any other final comments or questions for the COVID-19 Rag Chew? If so, please come now. This is Laird, VE3LKS.
Yeah, Laird had exactly the same thing happen with his free-stage rocket that same day. It just completely disappeared, never did see it again.
Yeah, I'm hoping the guys on the Crew Dragon will see it when they're coming down to re-entry and just reach out and grab it for me.
Well, that's the only thing about his free-stage rocket. I mean, it's gone, and unfortunately, stupid me, I painted it blue with a white nose cone, and it was on a nice clear day, and the rest was history.
Oh, very good. Well, you're in bad company anyways. At least you know someone else who did stupid things and lost them in the air. But let me tell you, it was fun doing it, though. I thoroughly enjoyed it, even though I lost a rocket.
Yep, it was. I enjoyed it, too. Have a good night.
Okay, 73 is Christopher. Anybody else before we shut down? Okay, thanks everyone for being part of the COVID-19 Rag Chew. We will see you tomorrow night, Friday night, for the Friday night edition at 7 p.m. And looking forward to chatting with you all then. This is Laird, VE3LKS 73, everybody.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Laird, and have a good evening. VA3 RTV, clear.